In exclusive reporting from NBC News, the Chinese spy balloon that traveled across the country for several days was able to gather intelligence passing over sensitive American military sites before it was shot down in February on President Biden's orders. Today,
it had a propeller, it had a rudder, it had the ability to speed up and slow down, turn. It had maneuverability.
Sources also told NBC News the balloon was able to send back intelligence to Beijing in real time. China claims it was a commercial weather balloon.
Part of it is a test to see whether they can penetrate our airspace. Part of it is, frankly, collecting intelligence in real time.
On February 6, 2023, a powerful 7.8 magnitude earthquake hit southern and central Turkey, extending into northern and western Syria in the early hours.
It's come from a tweet from the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, who has said on Twitter, "I ordered the takedown of an unidentified object that violated Canadian airspace. At NORAD Command, shot down the object over the Yukon. Canadian and US aircraft were scrambled and a US F-22 successfully fired at the object."
March 23rd of this year, this video was posted before this hearing was publicly noticed. I think that's a very interesting point to raise. But more concerning is the fact that it names this chairwoman by name.
Mr. Chu, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
Only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand that.
So if I have a TikTok app on my phone and my phone is on my home Wi-Fi network, does TikTok access that network?
It will have to access the network to get connections to the internet.
Military alliance.
This is an historic day. We welcome Finland as the newest member of our alliance.
The Nordic nation completed one of the fastest accession processes in NATO's history. Finland applied to join in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022.
On April 11, 2023, the Shiveluk volcano in Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula erupted, discharging ash as high as 10 kilometers into the sky. The Geophysical Survey of the Russian Academy of Sciences noted that following the eruption, the ash cloud drifted to the west and south and measured 400 by 270 kilometers. The media reports say that the ash cloud will likely continue to spread.
It's therefore with great hope that I declare COVID-19 over as a global health emergency.
God save the King!
For armed rebellion at home. Their leader vowed to march on Moscow in the gravest threat to Vladimir Putin's rule. It triggered heightened security, global scrutiny, and this extraordinary statement from the president.
Attempt to subvert us from inside. This is treason in the face of those who are fighting on the front. This is a stab in the back of our troops and the people of Russia.
The uprising by the head of the Wagner mercenary group put the country on a knife edge.
Spread across Quebec and parts of Ontario. The entire town of Chibougamau in central Quebec was told to leave last night as nearby wildfires threatened people's homes. Officials have declared a state of emergency. A nearby Cree community is also being evacuated. Quebec's Premier and Public Safety Minister are expected to give an update later today.
These incredible images, you can see the iconic Empire State Building shrouded in that orange haze, and the rest of New York City's skyline looks like we're seeing it through an orange filter.
Right. And not only is it just devastatingly weird looking, but it's concerning air quality wise, the condition.
If they thought tear gas would keep people off the streets of Marseille, they were wrong. By early evening, the crowds were back, but this time the police weren't taking any chances.
The first ever mugshot of an American president, history made, and a nation stunned. Released by the local sheriff's office at the end of a remarkable day.
This has never happened. If you challenge an election, you should be able to challenge an election. I thought the election was a rigged election, a stolen election, and I should have every right to do that. As you know, the other ones too. What they're doing is election interference. They're trying to interfere with an election. There's never been anything like it in our country before. This is their way of campaigning. And this is one instance, but you have three other instances. It's election interference. So I want to thank you for being here. We did nothing wrong at all, and we have every right, every single right, to challenge an election that we think is dishonest, that we think is very dishonest. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you very much.
The number from the Red Cross after this disaster, already nearly 3,000 are believed to be dead. And right now, recovery teams are desperately trying to get to any survivors and finding it particularly challenging. Hillary Johnstone back with the details on this. Good morning, Hillary.
Good morning, Heather. Well, a government official who has been speaking with the BBC this morning told the BBC that one of these areas that's been affected, that huge parts of the city have been swept into the sea. And that's, he says, he's seen with his own eyes after visiting the area. So if you take a look, here is Libya on a map. You can see Derna, which we have marked for you there. That is a mountainous coastal region, and that is the region that has been so badly affected. Thousands more are still missing at this point as well. And there are concerns here about getting help to those who so desperately need it. So we've heard from the Red Crescent Society, for example, saying that they are in desperate need of help and volunteers because they say some of their own volunteers have died after all of this flooding. There are also concerns about getting accurate information and actually getting into some of these affected areas, partially because this country has been split between different warring factions ever since 2014.
The surprise attack on Israel.
شباب سرايا القدس المظفرة. The people of Israel are under attack, orchestrated by a terrorist organization, Hamas. In this moment of tragedy, I want to say to them and to the world and to terrorists everywhere that the United States stands with Israel. We will not ever fail to have their back.
That if you try to kill our citizens, we will continue. You know, we had no problem. 3 years ago, we had no problem. This is unthinkable.
Mexico's southern Pacific coast, making landfall as a powerful Category 5. It left a trail of damage in Acapulco before it's now starting to weaken. CBS 8's Regina Iurita joining us live now with an update on the storm. Regina.
Yeah, Netta, and that storm quickly intensified from a tropical storm into a Category 5 hurricane in just 12 hours. It hit shore near Acapulco, and it gave people very little time to prepare for it. This is the strongest storm on record to hit the area and the Pacific coast of Mexico. So this is video of an Acapulco gas station. You can see some of the gas pumps have toppled over, and there's also hotels that are experiencing flooding. First responders.
Hour. The U.S. vetoed a United Nations Security Council resolution today that called for a ceasefire in Gaza. The U.S. was the lone no vote in the 15-member council.
The move came as the UN and others are ramping up already dire warnings of humanitarian catastrophe if more aid isn't sent into Gaza soon and if the fighting isn't stopped. According to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry, nearly 17,500 Palestinians have been killed since the October 7th Hamas terror attacks against Israel. And the Israeli air and ground campaign is not slowing down.
Nowhere in Gaza is safe.
Before the U.S. veto, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres urged the Security Council to vote for an immediate ceasefire, warning Gaza's humanitarian system faced a high risk of total collapse.
We anticipate that it will result in a complete breakdown of public order and increased pressure for mass displacement into Egypt.
State, while it agreed that he was involved in the insurrection, it disagreed with the lower court that didn't disqualify him from becoming president. It ruled that it did disqualify him from becoming president, and so his name has been removed from the ballot. Crooked Joe and the Democrats know they can't beat us at the ballot box, and so the new plan is to nullify every single Trump ballot in the nation to keep Biden in the White House. Make no mistake, Trump says, we will appeal this decision immediately. We will take this fight all the way to the United States Supreme Court.